Greetings, my fellow Dungeon Masters. Now, whether you've been a DM for a day or for a decade, you can always work to improve your craft. Now, I've been playing a little over 40 years, and I still learn new things every time I sit down behind the screen. I'm going to give you some of the tips and tricks I have learned over the years, and as a general rule with all role-playing games, use what works for your table, and you can ignore the rest. So let's talk critical hits. Now, in a game like Dungeons & Dragons, a critical hit means you have to roll your damage die multiple times. More dice should equal more damage, right? But what about when it doesn't? Dice can be fickle. What happens if you roll a pair of ones on those extra damage die? Now all of a sudden what should have been a feel-good moment for the player becomes a feel-bad. What should have been a great accomplishment almost feels like a failure. I'm going to give you a couple of ideas of how to make that feel more like a special event as opposed to this maybe, maybe not situation. So one way is you simply look at how much damage does that weapon do. I normally roll, say, a d8 for this sword. So I'm going to roll that d8, but then I get to add the maximum damage for that weapon as well. So d8 means max is an 8 plus a die roll plus any modifiers I would normally have. Now I'm guaranteed to do more damage than I would have, and that feels better than taking a chance of maybe not doing better. Another way eliminates the die roll entirely, and not everyone likes this method. I just simply say you do double your maximum damage. So that 8 on the die roll is an 8 times 2 is 16 plus your bonuses. This means that the critical hit becomes a much more punishing blow on the enemy, and it is much more savage and brutal, and makes combat feel that way as well. Now the third one, which is my personal favorite, adds a narrative element to it. You determine damage however you decide, whether that is using the original rules or one of the two variants I've given you, but then you add a special effect on top of it. The player gets to decide this, giving them a sense of control over the battle. Now, it could be you hit the opponent's shield and break it. Now that enemy is easier to hit for the rest of the combat. Maybe you disarm one of their weapons, or you hit them in the main weapon they attack with, giving them some sort of disadvantage when they attack. Maybe you hit their leg or some other way they move, and now they move slower. You've done something to turn the tide of battle going forward into the favor of the players. And it makes that critical hit feel that much more special, because you've done something special that works to the advantage of not just you, but everyone involved in the combat. So I hope these give you some ideas of how to make critical hits feel more like something special for the players and avoid that potential feel bad that could happen by just simply rolling poorly on the dice. You want critical hits to be special, and you want the players to feel special when they get them, because it is not an every roll occurrence. So that's what I got for you today. Until next time, let's roll initiative and get ready to play.